Greetings, my friends, and welcome to another edition of Top 10 Worst of Lists, frequently seen as the best of worst lists by a number of Top 10 Worst List journals throughout academia and culture as well. People magazine has cited us as the sexiest Top 10 Worst of Lists for 2 years running, which is an astounding track record if you think about it, seeing as we've only been doing Top 10 Worst of Lists for 3 months. However, never look a gift horse in the mouth or sniff him in the mouth. I think why looking in the gift horse in the mouth is the only axiom regarding horses' mouths is really kind of paradoxical to me because I think you can learn a lot from sniffing a horse's mouth too. Why don't they have a phrase like that about the sniffing? Today's Top 10 Worst of List. I'm your host, by the way. My name is Les Ismore. And today's Top 10 Worst of List is a whole heap and helping of hospitality wrapped in a sequence of incredulity and wonder, paired with nuance and subtlety. Only the finest minds in top 10 worst of arenas could come up with a list like this. It's top 10 worst places to propose marriage. Nobody's on this tip. Nobody. I dare you to show me somebody who's on this tip. It's unparalleled. We're unparalleled. And that's just the way it is. Get used to it, punk. We'll slap the taste out of your horse sniffing. Your horse sniffing agenda shall be have its pants around its ankles. Exposed for the cheap, imitative inauthenticity that it represents. Only we sniff the horse's gift horse in the mouth. No one else is sniffing. No one else has top 10 worst places to propose marriage. God damn it. I don't think. I haven't checked. Anyway, so before we get to that, I just want to level with you. Right now you're going to hear some things. Things will happen on this episode. And what I'm here to say is that I'm not responsible for those things. This is all conjecture, made up stuff off the top of my head. I've spent a lot of time trying to pay attention as best I can to the world around me, which is a rarity in today's day and age. So there's going to be things that sound complex and whatnot that might sound like I really know what I'm talking about. But I wouldn't trust me. Look at me. Would you trust me? Look what I got go on. The hair. I don't want you to trust me. I want you to be probed by my insightful assertions and evidentiary curiosity to actually mimic it. Go out there and figure it out for yourselves. Here's something about, Mick Jagger being married to Jerry Hall, then turned around and married Rupert Murdoch, making Mick Jagger and Rupert Murdoch in-laws of each other. I don't want you to, this is heavyweight stuff. I shouldn't be allowed to just be one person, responsible for all the research and development of the ideas and the investigatory necessities of doing so much heavy lifting. You need to participate. And I say need out of a sense of need. Because it's almost too late. The beautiful human race that we've all come to know and love so much for some ungodly reason. Who the hell knows why anybody would give a rat's ass about the human race the way we've acted in the last 40-something years. But still we do. We care. We care because we love. We want to love. We want to have cheap love that's with no commitments. Who doesn't? God damn it. Everybody wants to get their wick wet. At least once in a while, at least more than once, a couple every 10 years or so. It's been a slow period for top 10 worst ofs in the boudoir arena. But, hey, what the hell? At least I've got top 10 worst ofs to sink my teeth into. And whoa, what a sinking of teeth. A gnashing of teeth, in fact. Once we release top 10 worst of places to propose. Number 10, I'm not going to start. I want to just explain just a little bit more. This isn't a partisan hit job. I'm trying to sneak one in on you. Crawl underneath when you're not looking in the middle of the night. Crawl underneath the barriers and walls that you've erected to try to maintain intellectual integrity and independence. To not be impacted by some sneaky little creep from the other side of the great political divide. Before you know it, you're like, oh my God, you're like talking about, signing up for a 26-month subscription to National Review or, sending in your dues for the ACLU. I don't want to do that to anybody. I mean, I wish there was a better world where we didn't need to, worry about the perpetual hate mechanisms of things like Fox News and the National Review, or that people could explain themselves clearly and have representation in the power apparatus that makes it safer for them to be able to, find guiding principles of who they really are inside, whether it be, a super gigantic, washed out hippie, hairy fuzzball freak like me, just trying to, do music and comedy and all kinds of stuff without, getting death threats or having competitors move in across the street from my small business and helping to destroy me, or, whether it be, governments laying gigantic, impenetrable glass ceilings and brick walls around certain people and disabling their ability to be able to get organic levels of distribution so that they can never be successful, and so they basically live and die within a cloistered, almost electronic jail type of environment where they never get to express themselves to people outside of their own immediate bubble. I mean, these are horrible things that we exist with in the world that are imposed upon us. And that's what this show is really all about. It's throwing off the shackles, the yoke of our oppression, so that we can be real people and not be condemned for it and not be judged by what we are, but, if we're going to be judged by who we are only. That's what we were promised in that half-assed Army recruitment flyer that we referred to as the Declaration of Independence. And then 10 years later, the same guys were like, whoa, 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 whoa. We did not really mean all men are created equal. What it is an obscure word, equal, which means only white wealthy landowners have any access to the power apparatus and full representation within it. All right, so then we got all that out of the way. Now let's get on with the final obligation of what I like to call the pre-show. And that's the commercial endorsements that make this show possible. Because, this couldn't possibly, all this splendor and intellectual acumen could not be possibly channeled by one fringe element guy who's got, nothing better to do with his life than shake his fist at the dying of the light. That could not be possible. There's no freaking way that anybody could, be so incredibly tuned out to the needs of the conformist society and the cloistered, fundamentalist, Puritan-loving jerk-offs of the world. No goddamn way. And yet here we are. So hey, let's get on with the freaking endorsements so that we can keep doing this stuff for some reason. First off, we've got, lipo squeezings, flavored shortening, now with 12 times the trans fats of Crisco and other brands for the extra added benefit of near immediate death upon consumption. Ooh, deliciousness and decadent. 1 out of 10 doctors recommend things. Plus, our easy new slather on recipe allows you to use it instead of butter or jam on your toast points. On your toast points. I'm telling you, honey. Below is a testimonial from one of our customers that we asked to sample our product who lived. Lipo squeezings is fine and will not cause immediate death or blindness. Lipo squeezing flavor shortening. Ride the flavor wave. Now available with 100% natural occurring ingredients. They could be occurring naturally somewhere. I mean, you can't prove that they don't. Can you fly to, other galaxies and find out if some of our very complex carbohydrate strings and chemical additives aren't occurring naturally somewhere in some other dimension? No, you cannot. Your unilateral dimension approach to trying to prove people wrong and bring up lawsuits and things like that against lipo squeezing flavorings is futile. It's a cookbook. It's a cookbook. And then also we're sponsored by the rice towel. It's the rice towel. God damn it. Kick those old school cloth towels to the curb by simply sliding into our jumbo pen bedding. Bag of rice, gigantic bag of rice after each shower or bath, and 10 to 12 hours later, oopsie boom, you'll be drier than Arizona in the middle of July. Plus, after a week or so of usage, place the entire bag into new rice towel proprietary colossal jumbo saucepan and add 145 gallons of water and a packet of rice towel proprietary spice blend and let it stew overnight. And in the morning, you'll have enough delicious rice pilaf to last you and your entire underground bunker to eat off of for 6 weeks. 6 freaking weeks. And all you gotta do is pick out some of the dingleberries and stuff. Remember the cotton for just one towel takes more energy to grow and refine than it takes to power a dozen ICE detention centers / labor camps. And the planet-wide washing of billions of towels creates more gray water than composting 8 billion human bodies into soil and green fodder after the AI robots liquidate us. So do your part and buy the freaking rice towel already. Jesus Christ. Here comes the thrombo. False alarm. And let's not forget, I'm excited to hear and pass along the news of the new Andy Hall of Fame coming to Michigan Avenue here in Chicago. I'm told that the freshman class of Hall of Famers, the Andy Hall of Fame, is a mixed bag of ding-dongs, doofuses / doofusai, and dark horses including Wham's Andrew Ridgely, Andrew Carnegie, Andy Williams, Andy Rooney, Texas Rangers designated hitter Andrew McCutcheon, and the St. Andrews Golf Club. I'm shocked that neither Andy Rooney, Andy Gibb, or Andy Dufresne from Shawshank Redemption didn't make it. Oh, well, there's always next year. It's the Andy Hall of Fame, God damn it. It's now free every other leap year. Oh, leap year. Hot soup. And so, hey, now that's the latest Sunday Morning Funnies comic strip. It's Calvin and Slobs from the makers of Calvin and Hobbes. It features a kid in a fantasy world where napkins were never invented and his adventures with an imaginary tiger with gross table manners and a penchant for French food slathered in butter and heavy sauces. It's a potpourri of slovenliness. Who could not be turned on? This is a laugh riot. It's more laughs per minute than any other comic strip in the history of comic strips. It's Calvin and Slobs, goddammit. And that's it. I'll leave it with that. I mean, it wasn't anything embarrassing there, which is a vast improvement for what we normally try to pass off as the commercial endorsement section of Top 10 Worst of This. So here we go. Top 10 worst places to propose marriage. Now, this is going to be, a lot of people are going to be offended by this list. A lot of people who have spent, all kinds of capital and interest and money and time and romantic gestures and stuff like that are going to be torn to shreds and torn down to their very fundamental inner selves and cause them to question everything that they are and everything they have been and whether or not their life has been a total waste up until this point. When we tear them a new one and by showing them that their romantic place that they chose for the most beautiful expression of love that we will ever have in their lives is nothing but garbage. But that's what we do here at Top 10 Worst of List, pointing out all the various different ways that you're total garbage. And why wouldn't we? I mean, look at me. The one thing I can relate to is garbage at this point. Look at this thing going on here. Can somebody please in the comments tell me whether or not this little thing is some sort of small insect burrowing into my brain slowly? And certainly not a brain worm like our beloved Director of Health and Human Services. But maybe something, I should try to dig out. I tried to dig it out with a grapefruit spoon the other night. It only resulted in the tiny scab that you see before you. But I've got tweezers at the ready and a lighter to sterilize them. And I'm planning to go immediately after this episode and do a deep self-exploration. Oh, wait, hang on a second. I'll do a self-exploration on myself. I'm going to need to have a sweet beat. Yeah. How you doing, little tiny scab? I want to make sweet love to you and penetrate your inscrutable surface. Get down to your deep, moist wetness. All right, enough of that garbage. Here we go. Top 10 worst places to propose marriage, number 10. In a TSA enhanced screening area. Now, I don't know if anybody has been through this. I have been through this, I swear to God. Where a TSA enhanced screening turned into something more along the lines of, heavy petting, I guess. I mean, if you're going to go that far with my danger zone and delve that deeply into my danger zone on a unmanned probe, then throw a couple of burgers down my throat already, make a girl feel like she's worth something. Number 9 of the top 10 worst places to propose marriage, in the euthanasia area of the dog pound. Now, there's not a lot of people, today's day and age, people become more attached to their dogs. They're thinking of it as like a family member and stuff like that, which causes me to wonder, if a dog is now a member of a family, how come we don't have forced protective safety seats for dogs in cars? I mean, if your baby, if your dog is a family member, then think about it like this. You've got a baby, right? All of us at some point do. Whether it's our own or something that we are looking to raise some temporary funds off of. We all, at some point in our lives, have a baby. And you're driving around, if there was no laws about safety seats in cars for babies, you'd have babies probably sticking their heads out the windows just like the dogs do, flopping around inside there. You hit the brakes and there goes the baby out right out the window. And you have people like driving around, they're holding the baby with the baby's like on like, wait, no, I'm doing better imitation for you. You deserve a better imitation of a baby. Mm-hmm. The baby sticking that out and gonna drool them. A blue streak. They're drooling a blue streak. God damn, that's tough to say. They're drooling a blue streak right out your freaking window. And that's why they came up with laws like that. To protect babies. People are driving around with a baby sticking out the window and the baby's like, oh no, faster, daddy, faster. And like, for some reason or other, like people, it's a really important thing for populations to increase because that's the easiest way for them to be able to increase profits and GDP and all that kind of good stuff that the emperors love to see on their balance sheets, income statements. And, so not having widespread euthanasia unless it's, under the races that are ruling overlords find unclean or unnecessary, of course, excluding those. The United States has, I think, one of the highest infant mortality rates in the entire world. Our great, wonderful, fantastic state is overseeing some of the most baby death. They paid so much attention to ending abortions that they forgot about the fact that we have the highest infant mortality rate in the goddamn freaking industrialized world. So in one kind of case, they keep sanctimonious, little tiny, undeveloped embryos, underdeveloped embryos. They protect the freaking embryos. In the meantime, on the other side of the coin, they've got the largest infant mortality rate in the world, and they're like, oh well, who gives a rat's ass about that? Because most of the people are minorities. It's so, it's so blatantly obvious. But do we get to talk about it? Does it become national dialogue or something like that? No, of course not. It's not brought up by any of the politicians. It's not brought up by anybody in the mainstream media. We don't have those types of discussion forums at all, even that are distributed throughout the country, that we can all sort of get on the same page and create policies or create awareness of various different types of things that are, the many different types of challenges that we're facing. They just go unreported, unacted upon, and just kind of fester and destroy the fabric of society and so many people's lives one at a time, just making people's lives pure hell. But the point what I'm trying to make about babies carrying the car, go goo goo gaga, go faster, daddy, all that kind of stuff is all, just harkens back to the whole idea of if a dog is a member of a family, why wouldn't we be forced to have restrained safety seats for dogs in cars as well? It makes no sense. Because if a dog is a family member, they need to be locked up because they shouldn't be hanging dogs out the goddamn window. Imagine hanging, not just a joke here on this stupid show that nobody watches, but an actual thing where people are hanging babies outside of their car windows so they can enjoy the breeze and stick their tongues out. No, of course not. You never let that fly, but you still have dogs, which are part of the family. You allow that to happen. They hit the brakes. Oh my God, there goes the dog. It should be an Olympic event. Maybe that'll bring it home for people. You got the Olympics coming up in 2 years. That's enough time to be able to turn this around. Why not to the Olympic dog launch, where you've got a car, you're doing about 70 miles an hour, and you get the dog hanging out of the side of the window, and you hit the brakes with a line because there's a little bit of a line, and the dog goes flying. And the dog that projects itself the furthest in a simulated accident environment is the gold medal winner. And that's, actually that's an event where every country could be able to compete without having 600 people on their Olympic team compared to one person on certain Olympic teams, having that unfair advantage, and also having the unfair advantage of having a whole collegiate talent development league for athletes and stuff like that, where most countries don't have any of that stuff. In simulated accident dog launching event, you wouldn't need any of that. It's just really just the luck of the draw. You get yourself an aerodynamic dog, like a hairless Chihuahua or something whatnot, and you just have you tweak the brakes on your car to be have a little tackiness to them, so they just really have an abrupt, the minute you slam on the brakes, it just sticks, and the dog goes flying, and it's, the only skill that you need to develop is the position that you're holding the dog out of the window for maximum trajectory, which anybody can do. You don't need to go to college to learn that. You imagine Coach Bella Fleck, what is that guy, Bella Anatoly or whatever, anything that trained at Mary Lou Rettins and whatnot, or you got him just going, yeah, this needs you to have larger high trajectory for your wiener dog. Oh man, the Germans, think about how good the Germans would be with all those dachshunds. Those dachshunds, I can see them, those things about right? Fly like mad. That's a dog that's built for simulated car accident dog, whatever I call it, dog launching. Oops, a little spittle on your face, just like that. That's one of my favorite lines from the Dune 1984. The only Dune, as far as I'm concerned, where the Baron Harkonnen, his lady, or the lady Ilsa, or whatever that lady's name is, he goes, just a little spittle in your face. And he spits in her face, a real goober, thick, and not green, but thick, right in her stupid face. And he goes, oh, what a luxury. So great, man. I mean, there's got to have a lot of things like that to make life worth living. You know, a little spittle in somebody's face. You know, it's not, you're not looking for monetary gains. You're just looking at really sticking to the people that you've grown and been conditioned to hate for all your life, for generational hate, for perceived injustices. All right, I think I've exhausted the topic for line item number 9, the top 10 worst places to propose marriage. Number 8, at a Coldplay concert. And then we've seen recently, within the last year, I can't remember exactly how long ago it was, that guy, that boss of that company who got caught on the Coldplay Skycam at a concert hugging a lady who was not his wife, and the uproar that all that caused. Well, could you imagine just like turning it around where it was like, Coldplay was trying to make amends by creating an environment that is so romantic that nobody can resist proposing to their side piece on the Kiss Cam at a Coldplay concert. What a luxury. That would be super, almost as good as Lady Jessica. I think that's what, almost as much as put a little spittle in your face, Lady Jessica. Play. And they show them caked on, it's thick. It's like the ultimate, like, where people you run into and treat you like garbage, and you're like, play on them. Or what was that Haktua girl? It's like the ultimate sort of, I can imagine a Haktua girl going like, Baron Harkonnen going on Haktua, right in Lady Jessica's stupid face. Phoniness. The level of phoniness in the world is so astounding. Seeing some of the plasticity behind the scenes of the plasticity just eroding in front of us, and seeing just a little dose of reality. That lady getting hit with something that was so realistically a giant hawker in that scene that it probably was a giant hawker, and it was David Lynch who was the director. He probably just like, we're going to go with a giant, real, actual living hawker. In the scene, we get to one of the authenticity to really kind of translate to the audience. Some of these things in fantasy world, science fiction, will, people get lost in the various different types of contrivance, and people don't even feel like they really believe it or they're going to possibly take place. You see all these fantasies and these really super cheap effects and these giant worms that look like they're completely made up and green screened. Without any pay attention to the quality of the green screening at all whatsoever. So we're going to need to have a real hawker. Are you with me? Can you come on a journey with me? And then the guy's like, Haktua. And there you go. Cut. End of scene. Print. Number 7 of the top 10 worst places to propose marriage. At your mother's funeral. Okay, right? Like everybody's crying. Everybody's sort of like, oh my God, I'm going to be like something like that. And you'll be like, oh, okay. Let's keep... And you just take her to the side. Look, I need you for a minute here. And you get down on one knee right in front of the grave, and you say, will you marry me? It's perfect. I'm running out of time here. The actual recording thing is running low, so I'm going to have to speed it up here. Unfortunately, top 10 worst places to propose marriage. Number 6 at a British soccer final match. You got all these hooligans everywhere like that, beating each other up, jumping on the pitch and stuff. And you all, they start to flaw out of the pitch, or they're beating the hell out of, the opposing team's fans, hooligans and whatnot. And you kneel down in front of all this beat downs and such. And you're like, will you be my bride? And it's just the perfect setting for true eternal love. How can it possibly get any better than that? Number 5 of the top worst 10 places to propose marriage, in the slaughterhouse area of an industrial pig farm. Nothing says I love you like taking a knee in a slaughterhouse abattoir. And trust me, I know from first-hand experience. Number 4 of the top 10 worst places to propose marriage, in Superman's Phantom Zone. Because it's like, this is a bad place to propose marriage. No one will know, because you're stuck in this eternal void and whatnot. And who are you going to get to be the wedding planner in an eternal void? Are you going to get Zod to plan your wedding? General Zod, I've just proposed marriage to my fellow inmate here in the Phantom Zone because of her porkability. Would you please be our wedding planner? And Zod's like, kneel before Zod. I told you I told you before we even scheduled the meeting, and he told you to kneel before Zod. And what are you coming to me with this? You come to me in the day of my daughter's wedding. And yes, I asked you to kneel before Zod, and you're just like, no, sir, I just need you to be able to get the cake and the decor and the theme and the band, book the band. Number 3 of the top 10 worst places to propose marriage, at SeaWorld, okay? Rose, they're exploiting these poor orcas, these vicious killing animals that gulp down baby seals in one gulp, but are being tortured by goddamn get over yourselves, man. All the kids that's seen all these shows and these circuses all throughout history, who become lifelong supporters of animal rights and human obligations, and going into careers in biology and environmental protections because of these transfiguring magical childhood encounters, are all gone. All these people, the whole Blackfish thing was all a setup to get people from having those transformative experiences as children, that they will carry with them all of this love of animals and in the environment and everything like that happens one-on-one when you're seeing these animals as a kid. You don't know any of the other stuff that's going on. And if you think that animals are being, sort of tortured, most cases they were not. They weren't necessarily, living out in the wild and stuff like that, but the goddamn wild is shrinking to the point where they won't be able to survive there much longer either. And if you think that they're suffering because they're asked to do a job, think about yourselves and your own lives and all the various different human beings who are suffering just to try to make it through their lives and do their jobs, and multiple jobs at that. And many of them who don't have any rights. Many of them have been, indentured and in servitude and stuff like that. It's just completely all messed up. I don't get it. I don't know why people think that it's supposed to be some sort of At number 2, the top 10 worst places to propose marriage, in a Turkish prison. Now, I might just be a simple country lawyer, but I know out of context places to declare one's romantic inclinations towards another, and in a Turkish prison has to be amongst the top tippy tops of places to try and avoid to get too romantically entangled with your cellmates and their significant others. Because it's just like, where's it going to go? There's going to be beatdowns. There's going to be spending time in the hole. That's no way to have a honeymoons. And the number one of the top 10 worst places to propose marriage, Omaha Beach. From the D-Day invasion. Omaha Beach. The Allies had the worst time of it. Out of all the beaches, Utah Beach and Zuma and Malibu, all the beaches that they invaded it on Tuesdays, D-Day, not Tuesday. All those beaches, Omaha Beach is that's where Steven Spielberg shot Saving Ryan Seacrest Privates. And it's not like I'm not intending people to be that don't laugh at this. This is serious stuff. If you're thinking of all the romantic places in the world that you go to, the Casbah, Luxembourg, the Pyrenees Mountains, the Alhambra in Granada, Spain, the Kensington Dog Show in Pennsylvania's, all the romantic places you could like take your betrothed and spring one on her or him. And you're thinking Omaha Beach, the sacrosanct, where so many people laid their lives and laid their wives. You think about, you want to, they laid their lives. You want to lay your wife. I learned things. I'm learning. I'm doing things. I'm learning. And so it concludes another edition of Fine Edition. If you see with the montage sequence, and all of a sudden, guy gets girl, guy loses girl, guy goes through incredibly difficult athletic challenge of some type, guy wins girl back. Guy finishes top 10 worst of list. Gets 2.5 views. 2.5. Potentially 2.5 views for that montage sequence ending. So that brings us to the conclusion of the top 10 worst proposals for marriage. I'm so happy to have been here. What an incredible honor and a special time that we've shared together. A growth spurt, I think, has occurred. Let me check. Yes, I've definitely had a spurt of some type. Might as well call it a growth spurt. I don't know. That's probably the only one that won't get us canceled. All right, so tune in again next time for Top 10's Worst Of. Where it's going to be a mind blower. Top 10 worst times to join in on your first Shirt Lifters Anonymous group session. Come on back and wait.